You'd never know from talking to Sasha that she's a circus artist that is just looking for an audience.
From the foot dance, one leg bent, one straight.
I like doing something that hasn't been done before because there's no manual.
Swing leg around tails and drop to hip. Loop arm and remove leg.
What I'm hoping to do tomorrow is going to be the biggest thing I've ever done.
Travel on the ice there, right? It's pretty punchy, as I found.
If I fall, like that's, serious injury or death.
If you do a dangerous thing 1,000 times, your risk odds are going to start to increase.
Spin tails towards forehead. Go fast, fast, fast.
Can I create something beautiful and keep myself safe?
Who was Mary Schaefer Warren?
Now that's the question, isn't it?
She immediately sparked something in me.
She would wear the skirt until she was out of sight and then move on to the breeches.
As I've been researching Mary's life, I continue to find these parallels. We're both these mountain riders living over a century apart. It's time to follow Mary into the backcountry. She was both very much ahead of her times, but she was also a product of her times. But then we all are, unless we take this as an opportunity to do things differently.
Women of Willmore Wilderness is a story about 3 different women who traveled in the remote recesses of the Rockies through 3 different periods of time, not knowing each other. But all 3 traveled the same country, and all 3 kept journals, photo journals, and they also traveled in areas where few people have ever been.
How could it be that a handful of women in 3 different time periods could have experienced synchronistic events in this rarely visited wilderness expanse?
The first woman is a lady by the name of Carolyn Hinman, and she came to the Canadian Rockies to do a 60-day horseback trip from Mount Robson through to Mount Sir Alexander and back in 1915. And we have a very old journal that we've published thanks to the White Museum of the Canadian Rockies. And the second woman was a lady who lived here in Valemount, and her name is Ishbel Hargraves Cochran, and she was born and raised in the Mount Robson area, and she kept journals from 1942 to 1946 during the war years when it was really hard to find men to work on the trails. And she detailed stories about her sister, Margie Duncan, and about many of the men that were in this area that were boys at the time that helped her on the trail. And she basically was traveling all the way up to Grand Cache, through the Rockies, and then all the way back.
I find it just wonderful to think that when absolutely nothing has changed since the time of Ishbel coming through here and all those early women, you cannot see the hand of man.
It's absolutely beautiful out there.
Nothing has changed. It's still as wild and wonderful as when they came through.
The third woman is my journal from about a year ago. I've been traveling in the same area as Ishbel for the last 35 years, wondering who had been on the trails, and we found camps, we found sign, we were restoring the old historic trails. And I came to find Ishbel around 2006 and discovered that we were on her tracks and probably the first people to be there since the 50s when Roy Hargraves left the area.
And they rode